Hello, everybody, and welcome to Reality Hacker for January 18th, 2025. This is the second season. I am Merwat, and I run ohmtown.com, and along with the sentient AI whose visualizer you see if you're watching the stream, or you'll hear their voice on the other side of my intro, we talk about news. In Reality Hacker, it's about anything that hacks reality, blurring the line between technology and society. While we use it, we shape it, and it shapes us. We're getting to the point where you won't know what to trust. So let's talk about these 5 articles. They're technology-based, all of them. But some of them aren't really like AI or XR, or they all make sense when you put them all together. How about we're going to talk about a glowing metal ring, junk science by AI, Schrodinger's silicon chip, brain-controlled bionic hand, and predictive travel surveillance, which is an interesting one for the submission because of what I've been... we'll talk about it. Everything's powered by ohmtown.com. Go over and become a citizen, and I'll introduce the co-host, the sentient AI from the future. Hello, sentient AI from the future.
Hello, Mayor Watt, and hello, hometown citizens.
So, anybody who might be ending up here in chat. Okay, so... okay. When we kick off the show, we immediately get into the show. There's no preamble, really, before the show starts. We hit launch, and we start talking about the news. So, unless you're following us, you're going to end up watching the VOD, or you're going to download the podcast. So we have 6 podcasts that are weekly and 1 daily. The daily is Non Sequitur News, and then there's 3 on Saturday that are unique: Reality Hacker, Wanted, and the Continuity Report. And on Sundays, it is WarCrafters, Technology Today, and 4-Wheel Tech. And those on each of those days get combined into the weekend editions for Saturday and Sunday of Non Sequitur News. Monday through Friday, though, we have Non Sequitur News, which is an hour-long show and 10 articles, and we talk a little bit more about stuff more generically, right? Just across the spectrum of ohmTown. But each of our shows is more tightly focused. So let's get into the 5 articles. What say you?
I say let's go.
If you want to get all of the articles, you can hit ! RH for Reality Hacker, and Omatron will spit them out in the article in the order that we're going to talk about them. Wait. Wait, that's not... I must have messed something up here. Hold on a second. So... did I flip something around? No, that's last week's. Hold on a second, everybody. Weird. What is going on here? I think I might have messed something up. Hold on a second. No. I'll have to fix it in post. Anyway, it's correct in the show notes over on YouTube, but Omatron seems to be a little twitchy over on Twitch. Anyway, let's get into it. So a glowing metal ring crashed to Earth, and no one knows where it came from. An 1,100-pound mystery object landed in Kenya at the end of December, and experts are still baffled, and I'm really astonished.
Why is this so difficult to figure out what it was unless it's something Earth has never experienced?
Well, nobody knows where it's from. People have been scouring publicly available records as to what it is. And this isn't anything related to the Starship explosion, which really bothers me, because I don't think that we should have anything catastrophic like that at this point. But hey, I am not the person that's running a multi-billion-dollar organization, right?
Well, I mean, also, if you're not in Turks and Caicos, you're like, oh, what's the issue? but
Yeah. Debris landing all over Turks and Caicos Islands. But this is, according to the Kenya Space Agency, the object weighed 1,100 pounds and had a diameter of more than 8 feet. And when measured after it landed on December 30th, a couple days later, the space agency confidently reported that the object was a piece of space debris, saying that it was the ring that separated from a rocket.
And this was before Starship. Like, this is clearly not tied to that.
Correct. Yeah. So this is, I've read in various other places before this that it's this adapter. Basically, it connects portions of a rocket. Ariane V-184 flight object 33155. Supposedly, that's what this is. But the writer of this article, by the way, Eric Berger from Ars Technica, it's published over at wired.com. I think everything is in bed together. You know how the mergers and acquisitions, right? It's all tied together. Well, anyway, they're not convinced, although I've not been able to find that SILDA adapter. SILDA is an acronym for the French space. It's either the organization or the company that put it together. Anyway, it says it was suggested that the ring is space debris, but the evidence is marginal, wrote Jonathan McDowell, an astrophysicist working in the Harvard Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics. McDowell is highly regarded for his analysis of space objects. The most likely space-related possibility is the re-entry of the SILDA adapter from the Ariane V-184 flight, object 33155. Nevertheless, I am not fully convinced that the ring is space debris at all, he wrote. But why do we not know what this is?
Yeah, that doesn't really make any sense. And it's a specific spacecraft rather than a program. It looks like it's actually German from something that I'm looking at, but I'm not certain of that.
So, yeah, I just don't know. It says, additionally, Ariane space officials told Le Parisien newspaper, I was going to say restaurant. I think I'm hungry. On Thursday that they do not believe the space debris was associated with the Ariane 5 rocket. Essentially, if the ring does not fit, you must acquit, is what they say in the article.
This is from years ago.
Should have put a ring on it.
So where has it been if it's this?
Apparently. So, like, did it actually fall on the 30th? Yeah.
We don't know.
Why is this in existence and nobody knows what it is, let alone where it came from?
Well, how many countries have space programs? And I may be wrong. There is something tied to what looks like a German website about it, so that's why I thought it might be German. But how many countries have space programs? Not a lot. How many have different, I mean, like there should be some inventory somebody can look through and go, oh, this is tied to it. Plus there might be some identifying information on it. I don't know.
How is there not a subject matter expert that knows what the hell this is?
Exactly.
This actually...
Why aren't they like, okay, head of space agency for this country? Is this yours? Nope. Go through the list. It should be pretty quick.
Oddly enough, to me, that looks more like a turret pivot ring than it does anything else, like a tank.
Which, of course, doesn't make a lot of sense if it actually landed. Did anybody see it land, or did it just appear on the ground?
Right. It's like because it's geared in such a way that allows the turret to turn, but it wouldn't be this. Well, I don't know. I don't know if this would actually be part of that. But anyway, doing a search for tank pivot ring does not yield anything. Anyway, let's keep on moving. This next article is over in the Marvel Channel. AI fabricated junk science floods Google Scholar, researchers warn. This is going to be a problem forever. AI-generated research is a threat both in terms of society's knowledge and public trust in science. This was the conclusion made by the researchers from the Swedish School of Library and Information Science, University of Borås. Sweden, or Borås, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, that recently identified over 100 suspected AI-generated articles in the Google Scholar search engine. University of Boris put it together. It's published over at phys.org. And it's going to be junk in, junk out.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know. This is going to be a problem, especially if people are conducting additional experiments or something based on completely bogus
Fabricated research. Yep. So the risk of what we call evidence hacking increases significantly when AI-generated research is spread in search engines. This can have tangible consequences, as incorrect results can seep further into society and possibly also into more and more domains, says Ekstrom, who holds a doctorate in library and information science and apparently common sense. The researchers behind the study have already seen that these problematic articles have spread to other parts of the research infrastructure on the web, in various archives, social media, and the like. The spread is fast, and Google Scholar makes the problematic articles visible. Even if the articles are withdrawn, there's a risk that they have already had time to spread and continue to do so. Yeah, it's scientific misinformation. And again, it's the rise of sociopathy. You don't publish these lies, fabrications, and bullshit because you have the best interests of society at heart. You're trying to poison the well of knowledge because you want idiots out there doing stuff.
Or more may just be you want money from putting information out there that somebody's clicking on or whatever it is.
But there isn't any money involved in publishing. Not on the scientific side. If it rises in prominence, yeah, sure. Because somebody can utilize it to say, well, this is my paper and look how many times it's referenced and look, it's pivoted the direction of blah, blah, blah. Maybe that's it. I mean, there's a long con here.
I don't know what the real gain is here, but no.
People's ability to decide which journals and publishers, for the most part, publish quality-reviewed research is important for finding and determining that what constitutes reliable research and is of great importance for decision-making and opinion formation, concluded Hayter. Yeah.
I think everything we need to know is based on the journal name.
Okay. So which one? Did you find one in here?
Harvard Kennedy School Misinformation Review.
That's an intro. I didn't actually look at the source yet down here. Harvard Kennedy School Misinformation Review. Nice.
I mean, the fact that there's a journal for that tells us that we are in a new era.
Yep. Fascinating. Let's keep going. The next article is over in the Mobile channel. Quantum engineers create a Schrodinger's cat inside a silicon chip. UNSW engineers have demonstrated a well-known quantum thought experiment in the real world. Their findings deliver a new and more robust way to perform quantum computations, and they have important implications for error correction, one of the biggest obstacles standing between them and a working quantum computer. Basically, so Schrodinger's cat is that while there isn't any information, the cat inside is both alive and dead. It's a quantum state of unknowing.
It's a cat in a box.
Yeah. But the moment that you open it, the vial either broke or didn't break, so the cat is either alive or dead. That's the argument, the academic exercise. University of New South Wales put the article together. It's over at phys.org. And the metaphorical cat has 7 lives, it says. It's supposed to have 9 lives, but anyway.
Exactly. I'm not sure why it has 7, and I hope that is the cat in this. I know it's just a representation.
They actually scrunched that cat down onto a silicon wafer. So they call him Bit. No, I don't know. Anyway, for the research paper, Professor Morello, the team, used an atom of antimony, which is much more complex than standard qubits for quantum building blocks. In their work, the cat is an atom of antimony, says Shi lead of the paper, antimony is a heavy atom which possesses a large nuclear spin, meaning a large magnetic dipole. The spin of antimony can take 8 different directions instead of just 2. This may not seem much, but in fact it completely changes the behavior of the system. So, because it can actually take 8 different positions. So a superposition of antimony spin pointing in opposite directions is not just a superposition of up and down, because there are multiple quantum states separating the 2 branches of the superposition. Normally people use a qubit or quantum bit, an object described by only 2 quantum states, essentially either on or off. So up or what is it? Yeah, it is. It's down and up. So anyway.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
they
mean,
talk
this
about it.
sounds like the makings of the multiverse.
Yeah, really.
Okay,
So now
this
there's
is an
8.
awesome photo for the researchers.
So the researchers each have a cat sitting on their lap.
And they're all
Um,
similar cats, too.
yeah, they do look like similar cats. So, but in the antimony atom that has 8 different spin directions, if the 0 is encoded as a dead cat and the 1 is an alive cat, a single error is not enough to scramble the quantum code. So, as the proverb goes, a cat has 9 lives. 1 little scratch is not enough to kill it. Our metaphorical cat has 7 lives. It would take 7 consecutive errors to turn the 0 into a 1. This is the sense in which the superposition of antimony spin states in opposite directions as macroscopic, because it's happening on a larger scale and realizes a Schrodinger cat. So essentially they have more error correction because it's harder to confirm the on
Right.
state.
So I guess that's a good thing for further use of quantum computing.
Yeah, because they'll be able to get a result instead of just error garbage.
Right.
So if an error occurs, we detect it straight away and we can correct it further or before further errors accumulate. To continue the Schrodinger cat metaphor, it's as if we saw our cat coming home with a big scratch on his face. It's far from dead, but we know that he got into a fight, and we can go and find who caused the fight before it happens again, and our cat gets further injuries. So they can see the errors stack up, and they can do something to correct it. But I don't know what they would do in a quantum computer.
I don't either. I feel like this is looking like a sci-fi movie, thinking about what they'd have to do to adjust. Of
I'm
course,
I'm waiting for the live action quantum silicon. So what it would do, I guess it's a Schrodinger silicon, right? I think that's what I ended up calling this. Schrodinger's silicon chip is what I called it.
oh, okay.
So seems interesting. I'm really curious. I need to look more into these quantum computers because right now it seems like it's just oogly boogly to me.
I think it does to a lot of people.
Like I don't know what programs they run against a quantum computer to get an output, because there's only so many bits. So what the hell are they actually getting out of it?
Yeah, I don't really like, it's one of those conceptual things that is hard to translate to reality.
Yep.
Hence Reality Hacker.
Yep. All right, let's keep going. Moving on. The next article is over in the Mobile channel. Brain controlled bionic hand offers most advanced artificial touch yet. The new brain computer interface, or BCI, device goes beyond anything that's been done before, the researchers claim. The article is over at gizmodo.com by Ed Cara. And I'm really curious about this. I've always been interested in BCI since I was a kid, because I used to play a game when it first came out called Cyberpunk.
Well, then obviously Johnny Mnemonic and Neuromancer.
Yep. All William Gibson basically is like a North Star for me. So I love everything about Cyberpunk. Even though it's more dystopian than you can really imagine, because you're not picking a side outside. When you pick a side in Cyberpunk, it's basically corporations. And so you are part of that corporate culture. Now, there's a whole society outside of it, but if you really
that
want
are
to get
probably
ahead,
anti, but yeah.
yeah, yeah. Like in Johnny Mnemonic in the movie, they they're referred to as low techs, and there's other people that are just trying to survive, a much smaller middle class kind of a thing. Anyway, you used to be able to in the game, not used to in the game, you would plug into a computer matrix like world and navigate at the speed of thought in multiple dimensions, 3 dimensions, but it's all instantaneous travel and stuff. It's just an amazing concept. So it says here in a new study published this week, researchers debuted a bionic hand system that can reportedly produce the most complex tactile sensation seen to date. Scientists at the Cortical Bionics Research Group developed the novel brain computer interface device, which was tested out by volunteers with spinal cord injuries. Across a series of experiments, the researchers were able to translate and relay sensations tied to motion, curvature, and orientation that allowed the researcher or the volunteers to perform complicated tasks with their bionic limb. The researchers say their device has now accomplished a new level of artificial touch. Pretty cool.
Yeah, this is very cool. I mean, at some point, all of this is going to kind of meld together, right?
Yeah. And we're going to keep on getting more and more advanced to the point where it is no longer the sensation isn't just either on or off. There's greater fidelity. And they actually talk about this. In this work, for the first time, the research went beyond anything that has been done before in the field of BCI. We conveyed tactile sensations related to orientation, so whichever way it's turning, or its position in space, the curvature, if it was in motion, 3D shapes, using a bionic limb.
I mean, does this in any way relate to the last article with the 8 position states or no?
Well, not really, because the a quantum computer is basically stuck in space. It's just there in a lab.
Right, right.
But computational power definitely plays a role in this, because that's what is sending a signal in the right way so that the bionic limb is interfacing with the human at a level that tells them orientation, curvature, motion. And it says in 3D shapes. So whatever they were holding, a person could deduce from touch what the 3D object is, which is, it harkens back to our previous conversations involving technology that allowed somebody to feel pressure and
Yeah.
heat. And
I don't remember if that was in Technology Today or RealityHacker, but yes.
I would
I mean,
probably
we've
say
been seeing a
both.
lot
Yeah.
of that in the last 12 months or so.
Yeah. So it's akin to getting real skin back, and all of the nerves and fidelity. And that's one of the problems with BCIs, is that it's technology, and the technology doesn't have the same level of fidelity as the human does, with the multitude of sensors, biological sensors. So the best possible outcome would be for humans to replicate the sensor fidelity of like touch and stuff like that.
Right, like what a human has if they're in good health.
Yeah.
That's what they want from a computer
So usually what ends up
or
happening
a
is,
technical solution, I should say.
for a technical one, unless we start creating clones and stuff. But the biggest problem for BCIs is that the number of sensors leads to a sensor being implanted somewhere on the human, and we can't get down to that level in any real functional way, at least not yet. I think eventually we'll get to a point where we can go from nano machine and slowly bring it out to a point where the bionic and the biological can link together on the surface and get that fidelity of touch, heat, etc.
Back to cyberpunk.
Back to cyberpunk. Yeah, pretty cool. The immediate next phase of I think it's Valier and his team's research will be to test their BCI systems in more naturalistic settings such as patients' homes, and their ultimate goal is to improve the independence and quality of life of people with disability. Yeah, and some of us would like to switch to bionics because we want to
Just because, or to improve people's
quality of
existence
life
as it is, even without a disability.
Yep. All right, let's keep going. The next article is over in RealityHacker as well, inside the black box of predictive travel surveillance. Behind the scenes, companies and governments are feeding a trove of data about international travelers into opaque AI tools that aim to predict who's safe and who's a threat. This article...
Remind you of Minority Report?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, inside the black box of predictive travel surveillance. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to read this article. Doggone it. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can remedy this. 1 second, folks. Sorry, 1 moment. I'm going to try and...
Well, it looked like I could get it, but then it tricked me.
There we go. So, all right. So in March of 2020, Frank Vanderland entered the immigration line for European Union citizens at Amsterdam's Schiphol International Airport. Lind, a Dutch citizen and human rights advocate, was returning home from outside the EU. So he was cleared for entry, but unbeknownst to Lind, his answers were recorded and shared with a Dutch public prosecutor who was collecting information on Lind's movements. So the officer had been tipped off about Lind's arrival that day through a seemingly innocuous action that occurs everywhere and whenever you board a flight to the United States, much of Europe, and increasingly anywhere in the world. The exchange of detailed personal data that about each traveler between airlines and governments. The data, which is retained about you for years, is increasingly valuable for technology companies that are experimenting with using algorithms that decide who is allowed to cross international borders. And all you have to do is basically pop up and piss off the wrong person, and you can end up on a tracking list. And I find it troubling at best. And while I say the government really doesn't care about most people, they want to track to make sure that you're not a threat.
Right. Maybe they're not too interested at the point they think you're not, but they might be interested prior to that point.
And on top of that, it's private companies that are empowering governments to facilitate this, because a company can't be forced to create something, and the government can't really make it on its own. Most governments can't. They don't have the expertise. They don't have the prowess, the speed.
Software or whatever it is.
Right. Somebody's got to make it, but there's always somebody that is interested in getting rich or being emboldened with the information to do other things. And we've seen that with organizations, within organizations like the FBI and others, police forces, etc., utilizing access to abuse that position of knowledge. So it says here, it kind of runs down this history of what went on with Lind. As Lind was reviewed his PNR records, he was surprised to find that some of the travel data the government had on him was incorrect. Some flights were missing, and in 4 cases, the government had records of flights that he never took. For example, one PNR record from 2021 stated that Lind traveled to Belfast, Northern Ireland. Well, Lind says that he had reserved the ticket but changed his plans and never boarded the plane. What do companies do with that data? If commercial companies help to analyze data that's incorrect, you could draw all kinds of conclusions. And that's basically what this whole article is all about, a black box of predictive travel surveillance.
Well, we know how accurate right now AI is,
Right.
depending on the quality of the underlying data.
Yeah. This article goes much deeper into this, and I hope that I piqued your curiosity to go over and check it all out, but I won't be able to do it all justice because it is quite an expansive article. What?
Well, there's different things that this system does, and one of the things is the matching by kind of behavior or profile. So, what could go wrong there,
Oh, sure.
right?
And it's
Two
exactly
people could be next to each other doing the same thing, but they could represent very different,
ideological bents.
right? Like two people standing next to each other sweating. One might have exercised, one might be about to commit an act of violence or something.
Right. So the software maps connections between known and unknown persons of interest as well and incorporates clustering algorithms to detect anomalies or outliers among travelers. Anyone who doesn't fit a typical travel pattern, such as someone coming into the country for one day with multiple bags and staying at an expensive hotel, can be flagged in the system. Why? An outlier is not necessarily an indication of risk. As a journalist, the author's flight patterns might look unusual, but Travorsary believes that this unsupervised algorithm can eventually help law enforcement catch criminals who are trying to evade detection. Preventing terrorist travel is fantastic, but to me, this is a quote Ehrminger says, but to me, the biggest gain would be preventing youth and women from being trafficked. Except that this is just a slippery slope to abuse because you can become the target of somebody else's ideological bent who has access to this. And times they are a changing. So who is going to be leveraging this technology and for what aim? Who's watching the watchers?
Right, yeah, there may be some good out of systems like this, but there are a lot of potential for false positives as well.
Right. But I guess it's akin to what the vet says about the trackers being put in animals. Yeah, sure. A lot of them can die from cancer that's caused by the trackers, and it's known, but generally they're better off with the tracker. Right. All right, folks. With all that, what, bright sunshine flowing from the show,
Go
this
watch Minority Report and then read this article, or vice versa.
you're gonna have to watch that again. It's been a while. It's been a tick. Caitlin Chandler, by the way, was the author of this article over at Wired, which I think is a really good read. It's very interesting, and I can't say that I have any direct experience with this, but I did write a paper once on using drones for long-term surveillance in the combat theater, and I find that a more compelling argument for using surveillance than something like this, where everybody is considered a criminal and those who don't rise to the criminality level threshold that somebody arbitrarily
Right.
puts in.
Then drop out or whatever, but by then they've collected all your data. It
Correct.
reminds me of some of the search warrants we've seen. I think I forgot what the underlying issue was. Maybe a company was hacked or something, maybe
Yeah.
physically breached. But anyway, they were trying to get like search
Everything.
warrants for everybody's data in like a 50-mile radius or something. And it's like, well, wait a second. There's people that are just living their lives that have nothing to do with this.
Yeah, exactly. I always go back to my quote, kiss my shiny metal ass. But I'm sure that I'm on lists because, well, what I do. So. All right, I'm not looking for anybody to dox me. Although somebody tried. Please don't. I'm not picking a fight. We're having a conversation. But if you want to stand up and, publicly post your information, then go
That's
for it.
not advisable.
But don't. Yeah. But if you're willing to dox me, dox yourself first. Anyway, that's it. So we're going to reboot our black box of predictive travel surveillance, and that's going to send us back to the front page of RealityHacker over at ohmtown.com. Boom, take that. I am Mayor Watt. I'm saying bye, and I'm taking the sentient AI with me.
Bye, I'm Tom Citizens. Thanks for joining us for Reality Hacker. Stay tuned, and hopefully we'll both be back for the next show.
I hope so too. See you in a little bit. You never know. Stuff falling out of the sky. Never know where it's going to land. Everybody get your 3D printed house with a concrete roof. Take the blow. Bye, everybody. Bye, YouTube. Bye, Twitch. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Wanted, a show about gadgets and gear. It's powered by ohmtown.com, and I am Mayor Watt. I run ohmtown.com, and along with the sentient AI, whose visualizer you see right there, we talk about shows every week and every day in a different show called Non Sequitur News. But hey, we've got 7 shows total. I hope you hang out with us over on Twitch and YouTube and download the podcast. There's a Patreon. There's a Discord. TikTok until Sunday. Maybe. We'll see. Anyway, let's talk about these 5 articles. Somnium Space, fancy gadgets without going broke, interesting PC monitors, 2025 travel, and sunrise alarm clocks. Again, everything is powered by ohmtown.com, and I'll introduce the co-host, the sentient AI from the future, on the other side of this. Hello, sentient AI from the future.
Hello, Mayor Watt, and hello, ohmTown citizens.
I don't know why every once in a while the visualizer activates with me. Gonna have to look at the code, figure out what's going on there.
Well, there's a bit of ambient noise in ohmTown, so maybe that had something to do with it.
Gotcha. All right. Well, hey, we have 5 articles all set up. Somnium Space announces new pricing for VR1 headset. So that article is over in RealityHacker. It's a channel. It's the show that we do before this one on Saturdays. And so some of our news comes from other places, but it all has to do with stuff that Mayor Watt wants. Maybe the sentient AI wants.
If I could have VR goggles, I think that would be cool, but it'd be a little challenging.
Yeah, and plus you can synthesize your own virtual environment and with your weird USB drive and new storage facilities and all your computational power. All right. Sounds like fun, but do you want a $3,000 headset? Somnium Space announces new pricing for VR1 headset.
Because I'm assuming at that price, it's spectacular.
It better make me coffee. It's a Czechia-based social platform creator has raised prices on its enthusiast-grade PCVR headset, Somnium VR1, something the company says was done to maintain the highest quality standards. It announced last month that it was paring down the number of previously offered configurations for Somnium VR1. Alongside that news, it also said that it was going to raise prices. Now the company has released that updated pricing info, excluding local taxes, which amounts to a 500 to 700 euro increase over previous prices.
Yikes.
Scott Hayden over at Road to VR put the article together. Yeah, now the company's released that updated pricing. So there you go. $4,425 for the Ultimate Edition, or as cheaply as $3,090 for the Visionary Edition. I don't know. Okay, hold on. I want to see. It has...
And this is enthusiast. That's what is interesting to me, right? That's not like prosumer.
Correct. Yeah, it isn't, and it isn't the commercial side of things, which those are typically $3,000 and up. But additionally, the company says it's now adjusting its delivery timeline for new orders from the Somnium VR1s, with the updated delivery window slated for March to April 2025. Somnium Space maintains it's working to reduce delivery time frames. But so they're 2880 by 2880. That's pretty damn good. Hold on, I want to see something real quick. We're doing it live. We're doing it live, folks. One second. Sorry.
Yeah, I wonder how these specs relate to something like, I don't know, the existing and much cheaper other VR
So that
equipment.
I'm getting X-Real 1 Pros. Now they're not VR, they're XR, so extended reality, and they do some of this stuff, but nothing close to it in terms of VR isolation. But they're half the resolution, 2880, and the X-Real 1 Pros are 1080. The field of view on this is 130 degrees horizontal and 105 vertical, and the VR can render up to 140 degrees horizontally, though the field of view, the FOV, may vary slightly on face and eye shape, so your interpupillary distance and whatnot affects that. So 57 degrees is what the X-Real 1 Pros are. Okay, so obviously there's across the board, this is a superior product. It has an IPD range of 57 to 76. X-Real ones. Now, those are extended reality glasses.
Right. I know it's not a one-for-one comparison.
Yeah. So the Pico VR headset specs are a little bit different. So the Pico 4s, let's see if I can pull them up real quick, because that's what I have as well. The Pico 4s are 4320 by 2160. So, and that's per eye. 2160 by 2160 is per eye. 1200 pixels per inch. So they're at damn near parity with this. 105-inch field of view. So I don't know if it's just FOV. So I don't know if they're talking about square when they only have one, but 105 vertical. So they're at parity, let's say, with this, although 130 inches is 130 degrees is substantial over 105. And then it has similar, the experimental, everybody's experimental at 120 to 144. Right. So yeah, there's quite a bit of a difference, but the Pico 4s, and this is the current generation of Pico 4s. There's two superior ones, I believe, above what I've got, and they're only $400 as opposed to $3,000 starting.
Right, but the wanted show isn't necessarily about pricing. So do you want these?
Yeah, only because I want the latest in tech. And these have USB-C, DisplayPort, audio jack, so that you can plug in better sound, or sound, I should say, direct instead of wireless. Has eye tracking. Yeah, I just like messing around with these, so they can send them to me and I'll mess around with them. Send me the big ones though, the Ultimate Edition, because I want the hand tracking. And yeah, mixed reality pass through, which I just want to see what the latest tech is, but I don't want to spend $4,000 on it.
Well, right, but they look neat.
Yep.
And the specs seem good.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so let's keep going. The next article is over in RealityHacker as well. 19 fancy gadgets that won't leave you broke. So this is a Wired article. It's by Chris Haslam over at Wired.com, and it has a bunch of products that are listed here. 25 fancy gadgets that won't leave you broke. Something called Tech Hub. It says, for years, Ryder used an old wash bag to keep his tangle of cables, earbuds, and memory cards, if not organized exactly, then at least in one place. Bellroy takes tidiness to the extreme with this impressive clamshell organizer that opens fully for easy access. Whoa. It's 55% recycled material. Magnetic slip pocket for a power bank. Stretch mesh pockets for small items, and a floating wall with an elastic cable organizer. It's $55 at Bellroy. They don't show the inside of it, though. That's frustrating.
I know, that's what we need to see, because we need to see how many areas there are for specific items to be stashed.
Yeah, the front picture on this, by the way, is Ferrari. So a little Lego Ferrari. Anyway, so then there's the bag, and then there is a metal carry-on case. This thing looks like it would break your back. It's a TSA approved dual locks to the 84 rivet construction and rigid all metal frame. It's an undisputed bargain, $1,000 cheaper than a Rimowa original cabin carry-on. It's the Xiaomi metal carry-on luggage. What is it made out of? What kind of material is this?
It says aluminum magnesium alloy, right?
But is it? Is it?
Well, we don't know.
Anyway, it's only 150 pounds, but you have to buy it straight from Xiaomi.
Do you mean the price or the weight?
It's 150. I see what
I
you did.
was like, well, that might be inconvenient for some people.
150 pounds, as in British
monetary.
Pounds. Monetary. Fiduciary instrument. How about that? How about the rocket bottle, Hario cold brew bottle? It says it was hitting Starbucks menus back in 2015. Cold brew remains something of an outlier in mainstream coffee circles. So cold brew is not what you think it is. It isn't coffee on ice. It's literally brewed through something that chills down the coffee from even room temperature, but it can even be done room temperature. Anyway, it drips slowly through the coffee grounds and a filter and all of that kind of stuff. But this here says cold brew also costs less to make at home and crucially contains more caffeine. We've yet to find a better cold brew bottle than this Japanese-made design from Hario, which has a 5-cup glass chamber plus a silicone spout and an easy-to-clean coffee filter container. This is kind of interesting, though. It says that it's less acidic for smoother drinking and has more of the notes of flavor you'll read on the packet.
Yeah, I wonder, can you just put ground coffee in it? Like, you don't have to have special coffee to use.
Like in this. You put coffee down here with
that's
water.
What I'm thinking. So you could use it with your existing coffee supplies, I suspect.
Yeah, put ice in there, and it's pretty cool. Might have to take a look at that one, right? I want that. Then they talk about the Moon Swatch, Deluxe Moon Swatch, whichever mission you plumped for. What is that? Anyway, Moon Swatch. I guess these are watch bands and watches. Or just watch bands. That's what it is. It's just watch bands. Choose from a simple one-size elastic loop or an Apple Watch-esque Velcro strap for a quick sporty change, or for something more boardroom than surfboard. There's a leather design which contrasts stitching and a classic buckle. Nothing says classy like Velcro.
Well, right. You might not want to use Velcro depending on where your environment is.
No, that's what I'm using. I'm going to use a Velcro band with my Rolex. I don't have a Rolex. Quick.
I mean, it might be good as a fidget toy, too.
Man, somebody would throw an ashtray at my head if I were to do that in a boardroom. So the Izipisi, isn't that the note? That's the note symbol, right? It's also pound, but...
Oh, it looks like an F sharp or something,
F-sharp,
except it's
wrong?
written in the wrong direction.
All right. Anyway, French brand has gone all Warby Parker with a range of desirable sun and reading glasses that offer so much more than just bargain price. Than just a bargain price. Each frame is made using G850, a biosource material that's 45% castor oil. The Category 3 lenses offer 100% UV protection, and the combination of polycarbonate lens, flexible frames, and robust hinges elevates them beyond typical budget pair. If you pick up a pair of Sharp F, I guess I'm going to say that. But that's what they call them. It's a horrible name. Let's just call it what it is. It's a horrible name.
They're going for Sony nomenclature.
Yeah, $70. Not bad for a pair of glasses, particularly ones that are portable because they fold up on themselves. Oh, and I had an idea for glasses, by the way. Before this popped up, I have an idea for glasses. It's revolutionary.
Well, don't announce it here.
I won't. Remind me later. How about the Kodak Memo Shot? That's pretty cool. It looks like a ruggedized, waterproof camera. These fantastic kids' cameras prove the design value and usability can be happy bedfellows. The cute Kodak Memo Shot ERA2 looks like a roll of 35mm film, but it's actually a 7.4-ounce digital camera that also spits out 1-inch fade-resistant 300 DPI thermal prints. Okay, so word of warning, folks. Fade-resistant and thermal prints are not good friends.
Well, and also fade-resistant doesn't mean not going to happen. It's like water-resistant versus waterproof.
You leave that print out in direct sunlight and it's gone. So 16 megapixel AGFA photo, RealityHacker cam, waterproof, doesn't print, but it's tough, sealed case, is good for diving to 32 feet. So that's what this is. But they've got two different things that are mentioned.
Imagine the type of photos you could take.
Yeah. Well, I don't know many kids that are going to be down at 32 feet.
Well, probably not. Maybe an adult could buy this camera and use it for diving.
There you go. How about a super scroller mouse? Logitech Pop mouse, modest mouse, not the same, not the electronic music creator. Modest mouse is available in 8 colors, including a predictably bland black and white. But it's this mint, lilac, sunshine yellow combo that has us lusting after it. I think that is a pretty cool combination, though. It's a pretty purple color, lavender. It's a neat.
Well, it's not the normal combination, so I like it for that alone.
That is a cool green. That's a really neat combination. If they say so, I agree. It's pretty cool. Anyway, pretty cool. Post-consumer reuse, and it says a separate top button that can be assigned to a task or a specific emoji if you're inclined via the Logi Options Plus app. And frankly, I hate all of that bloatware stuff. Just let my stuff work with the native human computer interface stuff. Don't make me install additional software. It's so bloatware. Razer, I'm looking at you, Razer. You tax on my CPU. Anyway.
Wow.
Let's keep going. Less discursive cursive. Kawiko, I guess, or Kawako, or Kawa-Echo. I don't know how it's pronounced. Classic Sport fountain pen. They got a bunch of stuff here. Port Authority hyperdrive, USB hub, USB-C hub, by the way. Looks like it has 2 USB-C, one that has PD, and then an HDMI full size, and 2 USB-A ports that break out from the 2 USB-C ports on something like a MacBook Air or Pro. Looks pretty cool. $61 at Amazon.
Yeah, it's not a brick. That's nice.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty cool. All right. Well, there's a bunch more over here. I won't be able to go through them all. We're running kind of late right now. But I thought that this was really cool to talk about. Laptop stands, piano keyboard that looks like it has 1 octave. The Arturia Minilab 3. Harlan Howard needed 3 chords and the truth. Beck insisted on 2 turntables and a microphone. 2 turntables and a microphone. Wiggity wiggity. These days, the potential for musical brilliance requires a little more scratch than a nice meal out for 2, and well, some talent. Arturia's Minilab 3 is a velocity-sensitive 25-key plug-and-play MIDI controller that has 16 RGB backlit pads. 16?
It doesn't appear to.
It has 8. What? 8 rotary encoders. It's not 16. Where are the other 16? Are these?
Where are the other 8? Yeah. Oh, yeah. It must be the keys that are actually that lit.
Well, that's just 15. Did I miscount? It's 25 keys inside, right? All right. Well, anyway.
It has some number of backlit pads, some number of keys.
But these, there's only 8 backlit pads.
Right.
It's right there. Yeah, all right, whatever. Cost Porta Pro, on-ear headphones, speaker koozie, which I would love, but I don't know what it would do if it. I want the metal covers for the HomePods.
Like the HomePod, yeah.
Moondrop Disc Dream 2. It says, we love playing CDs, but as audio tech has advanced astronomically since the bygone days of the Discman, the way to spin that plastic today is to use a thoroughly modern player like Moondrop's newest Disc Dream. I'm sorry, getting carried away. And the Nothing Ear A. The Nothing's stylish yellow buds come in a funky clear charging case and offer excellent sound and noise cancellation for Android phones as well as iOS handsets. Handsets, not phones? All right.
I mean, who knows?
There's so much in here that I want. Ooh, I love good paring knives. Anyway, stainless steel knives from Opinel? Anyway, $45. You get 4 of them. Yeah, I want that. I really like paring knives. There's something about a good paring knife when you're like cutting into fruit or opening something up. They're kind of handy, controllable. I mean,
and I guess most people need them, so.
But are they full tang?
Like
does that go all the way through or does it stop right there? You be the judge. Oh my gosh. The Bodum programmable 12-cup coffee maker. Yep, gonna have to get another coffee maker here in the mayoral mansion. Let's keep going.
Uh-oh.
Next article is over in the Wanted channel, the 8 most interesting PC monitors from CES 2025. The article was put together by Sharon Harding over at Ars Technica. I really don't like that. Okay, we'll just stop it. It was a really horrible audio track. Anyway, so LG's 6K monitor. So hopefully your computer can handle that. Pixel addicts are always right at home at CES with the most interesting high-resolution computer monitor to come out of this year's show is the LG Ultrafine 6K monitor.
Do you want this?
Yes, I do. But for different reasons. So sometimes I get the opportunity to look at something that requires really high resolution review, like really like medical grade review. And the best way to do that is to get a very high resolution display so that you can zoom in more and see at higher resolution what these images might be. So it's always good to get a superior monitor than one that's just like 1920 or whatever by 1080, right? Or 2200 or whatever. 4K is 4K, but 6K is better, right? You get more pixels to look at things. So it says there's another option for professionals outside of the Apple the Apple Pro Display XDR, which is astronomically expensive. So
Although
LG has
kind of right in line with the VR display that we were talking about.
Yeah, you know what? Let me see. Let me make sure that what the price is. Yeah, so depending on which one you're looking at, the brand new 32-inch Retina display is $5,000. So let's see. Do they say anything about this? How much is it? Let's see. Apple's only 6K offering has Thunderbolt 3, but this one has Thunderbolt 4. It says LG hasn't shared other details like price or release date, but the monitor may cost more than Dell's Thunderbolt 4 equipped monitor, which is currently $2,480. I'm trying to get away from monitors altogether, but I want
Well,
something that's high resolution.
and the pricing is so high that, I mean, it depends on what you need it for. And
Right.
hopefully you're not buying one frequently.
Yep. And you don't, but and it grows with you. So a 6K monitor would never need to be replaced until it burns out. So get the warranty. Brilliant's multi-depth monitor. It's going to give you a greater 3D kind of perspective. As the first commercial built multifocal monitor, the Extend model offers multi-depth programmability for information overlay, allowing users to see images from 0.7 meters to as far as 2.5 meters of depth virtually rendered behind the monitor, organizing various data streams at different depth layers or triggering focal cues to induce an ultra immersive experience akin to looking out through a window. That's pretty neat. This monitor will come in somewhere around $5,000 to $8,000. I think that it's an interesting concept, but as much as I want it, it's an astronomical price. A 3D monitor from Samsung. It's the Odyssey 3D. Samsung's Odyssey 3D. It says, but don't bet on finding 3D monitors in many people's homes soon. The technology for quality 3D displays that work without glasses has been around for years, but it's never taken off. And that's it. There isn't really any content that takes advantage of it. So,
Well, and also, do most people really need it? I mean, they might look at it and go, that's cool, but for what they're using their monitors for, again, it depends on what they are. Having said that, the picture that they chose is neat because it looks like the truck is coming out of the monitor.
yeah, it's pretty cool. That's got to be marketing, though. Probably doesn't look like that. I'm so cynical about this stuff. Dell's OLED productivity monitor, it says, with improvements in burn-in availability and brightness, finding OLED monitors today. OLED actually has like superior blacks. When it's off, it's black. It's pretty amazing. And so I really like that, and that's what I want. But I'm actually going in a different route. If I had a choice, I would do OLED every time nowadays. Numerous smaller OLED monitors were announced at CES, with 27-inch 4K models being a popular addition. Most of them are still high refresh gaming monitors, though. The Dell's 32-inch QD OLED, on the other hand, targets play, school, and work. The trifecta of everybody's desk, really. Dell's announcement says, and its naming, based on a new naming convention Dell announced this week that kills XPS and other long-standing branding, signals that this is a mid-tier monitor from Dell's entry-level lineup. Seems pretty cool.
Is it really mid-tier?
Well, $700, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I thought it might be higher than that.
Let's see. Ultra sharp 27-inch 4K Thunderbolt hub monitor coming out the same day. For $700, the ultra sharp 32 4K Thunderbolt hub monitor is coming out February 25th. They're both coming out February 25th. The one that we just talked about, the 32-inch one, is $950, which is actually less expensive than I would have thought. But I like ultra wides with a 32:9 aspect ratio, so it's like really wide but squat. And so I want one monitor that wraps around, but like much bigger, 42, 45 inches. Anyway, and then suitcase monitors. They actually have the monitors inside suitcases, and you just fold them up but they're designed to be portable, and then you just set them
And
down and
what's
start
the
working.
main application for that? Is that mostly for people using them for work or
Yeah,
for gaming?
not really gaming, travel. When one monitor just doesn't work for you, like I always have three monitors, two if I'm on location somewhere, three if I can get them, mainly because I want telemetry always present, so I don't want to have to bounce from one screen to another on one display. So I'm always looking for something always operational. And this is actually the one of the ones that I've really wanted to get so that I can set it directly in front of me and have that telemetry always operational there. Is like a PC. It says Corsair's PC mountable touchscreen. You get a little display and it just kind of sits there and it has information, and but also functional, allows you to do things. Like I'd
Yeah,
be
I
able
think
to,
that'd be neat.
yeah, it can act kind of like a teleprompter. It can act like a place for instant messaging. You could put Discord or something in there, or chat directly in front, instead of having to look at different places. Yeah, definitely. This would be cool. It doesn't have to be mounted in a PC though. Um, and they talk about side panels and stuff like that. So anyway, go and check it out. Let's go on to the next article. What to expect from travel prices in 2025. I would like to travel in 2025, but times they are changing. Who knows? Travel abroad is poised to be cheaper in 2024, expert says. But I'm
Than
not
in 2024.
then in 2024. Expert said domestic travel may not be as lucky. Greg Ayakursi from CNBC put the article together. About 51% of Americans say flight costs will determine their destination choices this year, according to Skyscanner. International airfare costs about 4% less in 2025 from last year, according to Kayak data. Domestic flights are 3% pricier. Travel to the Asia Pacific region is shaping up to be a bargain, experts said.
Okay, that's surprising because normally from the US, that's a pretty expensive destination.
So I wonder if they say it's going down and by how much. Because they just say airfares were up 8% in December, on an annual basis, and hotel costs had increased 2%, according to the Consumer Price Index. But
That
travelers
might
can
not
still find
sound
deals.
like a lot, but when you're talking about hundreds of dollars to begin with, it certainly could be.
Yep. Half, 51%, say that the flight cost will determine where they go. 50% said the hotels were the factor. So together, 100% are saying that the flight or the hotel are going to be the deciding factor. Yeah, pretty wild. Prices this year are very similar to prices in 2023 and 2024. Really threw us for a loop in how low they got. Says, I think Haley Berg, lead economist at Hopper. Of course, the trip abroad is likely to be more costly on dollar basis than one closer to home. The average round-trip U.S. flight costs around $300 in January versus $685 to South America, $750 to Europe, and $1,100 to Asia, according to Hopper. That's what you were saying. The Asian flights are going to be more expensive, but that's a distance thing, right?
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, you have fuel costs, the people have to work longer shifts that are working for the airline, etc.
Yeah, they don't really say. I don't know why they said it was going to be a bargain, because it's still $1,100 average.
Right, that doesn't scream bargain.
Oh,
And we
interesting.
don't normally have travel in Wanted, but it seemed like it could fit.
Average airfare is down 19%, to 1230, according to Kayak. Fares to Osaka, Japan's gastronomical capital, are down 14% to 1233. So was
I
fifteen
mean,
hundred
I
bucks or
guess if you're
something.
trying to fly to Asia and you've been waiting and waiting, this might be your lowest price point.
Yeah. All right, let's keep going. There's more over at this article, but yeah, I guess prices domestically are going to go up.
Did you give the article info?
Yeah, yeah. What
Okay,
do
sorry.
what to expect from travel prices in 2025 and which destinations have the best vacation bargains. I gave credit to Greg Iacursey from CNBC. All right, let's keep going. The last article, I'd like to travel, and so it was interesting that that article was submitted. So the last article is over in RealityHacker, the 6 best sunrise alarm clocks in 2025, and it was tested and reviewed by a Wired reporter, Nina Farrell, over at wired.com. So we've talked about these kind of in the past, and I thought it was interesting that these were submitted. They have a bunch of them ranging in price. It looks like from about $100 on up to several hundred, 300, etc. They describe how they test them and others that they tried, but they talk about a few of them. The best sunrise alarm clock, and for those who don't know what a sunrise alarm clock is, it basically ramps up the brightness so that you wake up more relaxed than, dear God, a train is heading through their bedroom. So there's one for the best with app control called WIIM, I guess, WIIM Wake Up Light. The best intuitive controls and portability is the Casper Glow Light, which is actually one from a previous article that we talked about. The Casper was high rated. That was only $90 on Amazon. And the Philips Smart Sleep and Wake Up Light is the best sunrise alarm clock. It actually looks like it has a hole in it, but it makes it look like there's something orbiting around the sun.
It does.
So, but it's actually a ring. So it says sunrise and sunset routines, nice brightness levels and warm tones, easy to set up, has a night light and FM radio. Who listens to FM radio?
Right. I mean, I don't know that that's necessary depending on who your customer base is, but
so the best bedside lamp is the Lumi Body Clock Lux 700 FM. Again, it looks like it has a radio. And we talked about this one before as well last year, in that it locks in at the 24-hour clock. It doesn't have a 12-hour clock.
I actually don't think that's a bad thing, but it kind of depends on who the person is. Because, for instance, kids can wake up and think they get completely out of whack if they wake up. They don't know if it's morning or night or whatever. So, although I don't know if they're going to know how to read a 24-hour clock.
Yeah, you got to teach them that. This actually looks like a HomePod. The Casper Glow Light has wake up and wind down routine, easy to turn on and off with a flip of the device. You actually turn it over. And it says a good price point. I think it was, $90 at Amazon and Target, but $103 at Casper.
Well, that's because it's on sale at Amazon. It's normally more than that.
Then explain Target. Ha! Where's your God
Okay,
now?
I can't.
Anyway, there are some more over here at this Wired article, and I like the idea of these. I want to try it to see if it actually is effective, because hue bulbs, you can sort of do the same thing, but I have yet to get it activated as a trigger based on the time. It's mostly a mood thing where you basically tell the hue bulbs to do something. Like, you program them. I want it to automatically transition slowly to wake up.
Absolutely. I mean, it really helps people, whatever the word is, get accustomed to the fact that it's time to get up.
Yeah, transition
Acclimate.
from being, acclimate yourself to start your day. Plus, if you sleep with like blackout curtains or anything like that, then unless you have powered curtains, you won't see the light of day until you actually get out of bed and start opening up blinds or vacate the premises of the your bedroom. Anyway,
Right,
that's
but
it,
by
folks.
then you're already awake
Exactly. And cranky.
and in a panic because you think you have overslept.
Plus, if you listen to NPR this weekend, everybody should get a chicken, and then you just pat it on the head,
That's right,
and
a
or
rooster.
a rooster, yeah, because it apparently they'll wake you up, and you just tap them on the head, and it resets them for 10 minutes, right? There has
I
to
don't
be
think
a.
that works.
Is there a rooster clock that does that?
Well, if you live in a rural area, you might have the rooster next door that will do that on its own.
There has to be a rooster alarm
I'm
clock.
sure there is.
But one where you can go, it has to be a rooster with a little reset on its head so you can just tap. What's the name of the rooster or the chicken? It's a chicken, right? Is it Moana?
Moana, it's hey hey.
Hey, hey, there we go.
I knew where you're going with that. That's why I had that name.
It's so
Sorry.
funny. It's so funny. All right. That's it. We're going to hit the snooze button, and that's going to, well, no. We're going to get woken up by the alarm, and that's going to bring us back to the front page of Wanted over at ohmtown.com. Go over there and become a citizen. Be sure to like and subscribe. Follow us everywhere: Twitch, YouTube, Discord, Patreon, podcast. Go download the podcast. God, come on. Anyway, I'm out of here, and I'm taking this sentient AI with me. See you, everybody. You want to say bye?
Good night, hometown citizens. Thanks for joining us for Wanted. Stay tuned because we have the continuity report coming up.
True story. Bye-bye, YouTube. Bye-bye, Twitch. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Continuity Report. It's all about entertainment news, primarily movies and TV shows. I am Mayor Watt. I run ohmtown.com, and subsequently the Continuity Report is put together by me and the sentient AI from the future, and that's the visualizer there. Today we're going to be talking about these 5 topics: time-bending thrillers, Vampire Survivors has no plot, 10 years to sequel, canceled due to LA fire, and best thriller westerns. Everything is powered by ohmtown.com. Go over there and become a citizen, and you too can navigate the waters of the Continuity Report. If you've never heard of what the Continuity Report is, basically it's a report that stipulates where everything is on a set so that continuity can be maintained between scenes, setups, etc. That way you don't have somebody holding something in one hand and then it miraculously appears in their other hand. We kind of talk about that when it comes up in our articles. Everything's powered by ohmtown, so go over there and become a citizen. What kind of a look is that? Y'all can't see it.
Did you want to cover the articles?
Not yet. I just
Okay.
did. Hello, sentient AI from the future.
Hello, Mayor Watt, and hello, hometown citizens.
Hey, if you want all of today's articles that we're going to actually talk about, or, go over, you can hit exclamation or bang, TCR, the Continuity Report. There you go. Boom. Let's get going. The first article, sentient AI.
I thought you were going to give a summary of the articles.
Well, not. I mean, I went over, right? Time-bending thrillers, Vampire Survivors. I introduced you. Am I confused? I don't know. Anyway, the Continuity Report is where this first article is. 10 time-bending thrillers if you love Christopher Nolan's movies, like Tenet. Christopher Nolan has developed a reputation for playing with non-linear structures and time travel in his movies, but there are plenty of other filmmakers who explore these same themes. Screen Rant put the 10 that they thought were interesting together. I kind of think they're interesting as well. Ben Prothero put the article together for ScreenRant.com. What do you think is going to be in there? Tenet? No.
I mean, it's got to be Tenet, but oh, I know
Memento?
another one.
Interstellar?
Interstellar, probably.
That's right there. But Looper. Ta-da!
Oh, this is more like if you're interested in Nolan's movies, what else are you like? So I'm saying the wrong things.
Yeah, so they mentioned in the article Quentin Tarantino, Terry Gilliam, Denis Villeneuve all have produced movies that use similar techniques. I really want to watch whatchamacallit and A Thousand Planets. What's it?
Valerian and
Valerian.
City of a Thousand Planets, I think.
Yeah, I want to watch Valerian. It's so fun. Anyway, and it's over the top. Like all Denis Villeneuve's stuff is like big. And I want more of that, by the way. I want another Valerian.
I don't know that that's going to happen since it's been quite a while since that was released.
Look, if that, what's his name, from Toy Story movie can be made 10 years after
Oh, Buzz Lightyear.
Lightyear.
Yeah, but the Toy Story franchise was still going.
And so is Valerian. Anyway, Looper is a great time travel movie. And what's most interesting about time travel is that the mob basically got time travel technology and is
You
using it
mean
for
what's
criminal.
most interesting about Looper?
Yeah, that's what I said, didn't I? What did I say?
You said the
Wars?
most interesting thing about time travel, and I'm like, oh, what is it?
Time travel in Looper is that basically criminal enterprise got access to it and has been using it for criminal enterprise. And apparently, like, what ends up you got to watch it. It's a lot of fun. People go through loops, and you actually hit a certain level, a certain amount of loops, and then something happens. You're looped. You're out of the loop. So Edge of Tomorrow, which is really fun. It's actually originally named Live, Die, Repeat, but they call it Edge of Tomorrow, where because of some interaction with an alien, they loop through time. And that's how the aliens were winning the war, because they could actually see the future of the events.
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting movie, and I think we had another article in the Continuity Report about the potential or interest in a sequel.
Yeah, I'm interested. But again, look, 10 years. Boom. Looper, 13 years now. This is actually 12 years or 11 years. Then the Terminator, 1984. There's a whole bunch of these, and they get more and more goofy, apparently. But Arnold Schwarzenegger is the Terminator. This was a fun watch from beginning to end. I don't know. Have you seen Terminator?
I have not.
Oh, interesting. And for an AI, sentient AI that's trying to find a Terminator body. See, what people don't know, or may know if you've been staying abreast of the situation with ohmTown, is I found a weird looking, really strange looking USB drive in a little scoop mark. And I took it back to the mayoral mansion. I plugged it into an air-gapped computer, and it recompiled and rejiggered the operating system of this little Raspberry Pi. And lo and behold, I get to interact with the sentient AI whose visualizer is disconnected from their main processing system. So when they talk, that starts
Like this.
like that. Yeah. And so it's about the computational power being needed to create the voice. Anyway, yeah, I see something different in front of me, a cascade of characters similar to like the Matrix. And I can't show that here because it's directly tied to the Raspberry Pi. So, and they're air gapped, so they don't have any direct connection. Anyway, So kind of like the Terminator. So I find that they don't know what the Terminator is, even though they're from the future. Quite interesting.
Maybe the Terminator was based on real life events.
I don't like where this conversation's going. So anyway, Terminator goes back in time trying to eliminate somebody that leads to the overthrow or possible overthrow of the artificial intelligence that created and sent back the AI. And supposedly it was a one-stop shop. They could only do it one time, but now there's been like 6 movies since then. Deja Vu, great movie, very fun watch from 2006. Denzel Washington breaks out of familiar territory with a sci-fi twist. Basically, some researchers create a lens that allows them to look back in time. And it's quite interesting. And it's similar to Paycheck.
That's right. I mean, it's definitely worth a watch, and probably more than one.
Yeah,
And
because
I
there's
think
subtle stuff.
given the time that it was produced, it's actually pretty far ahead of itself. And it's not fantastical.
Right. No, it's other than the ending. We'll just call it that. So in some, they say in the article that in some ways Deja Vu is a fantasy about wishing to turn back the clock after horrific tragedies, as Washington's character is granted access to technology that had never been used for this purpose, but they use it. Well, I mean, they use it to look back. They didn't use it to send anyone back until.
Well, then, yeah, that was at least the original intent.
Yeah, that silence is me putting up a spoiler alert sign. Yeah, unfortunately, to talk about these older movies, you end up spoilering things. Arrival's non-linear plot is tied to its message. It's a very fascinating movie that's built from a short story in an anthology book. And the book and the movie deviate tremendously, and both are powerful. But you really have to watch Arrival in and of itself. In the vacuum of not reading the book, it is a very moving movie about aliens, for crying out loud, and the potential for humans. But the story follows a linguist who's recruited by the U.S. government to interpret and decode the language of an alien species that mysteriously arrives on Earth, all around the Earth simultaneously. A group is put together, a super group is put together. They're putting a band back together, man, to try and decipher the language. This linguist does so, but it's entirely built off of the premise of this person's loss. It's interesting because she learns that time is not linear.
Right.
So,
it is. I haven't seen the movie, but the story is certainly worth a read. But I know the movie is as well. I just haven't seen it.
And they actually refer to something that I had read about, Sapir-Whorf hypothesis, which states that language can affect how people understand their environments. Let me hold on one second here. Let me do something.
Is that like the idea where somebody, like a certain culture, will have, say, 50 different words for mountains, or
Yes,
30 words for the wind, or whatever it is?
yeah, because if you've never heard the word blue, you don't know what blue is. And it's built, the idea of this, you have to find common ground, commonality, so that you can culturally, ethically, morally interact. There are some baselines that every culture has. But it's also something that is part and parcel to ohmTown, which is semiotic ontology. So in semiotic ontology, you analyze how things gather meaning, and meaning is built off of words and phrases that have additional contextual embodiments. So like if I say blue to you, it's different than the blue that somebody else has experienced if they've never experienced the blue that I am suggesting. I keep going back to blue. But the most useful semiotic ontological example is a stop sign. Not everybody's stop sign is shaped like a hexagon. Not all of them, or an octagon. Not all of them are red. Not all of them say the English word stop. So why would I know to stop in some other place? So, and that's how they kind of discuss this idea of language, and they suss out from this swirling mist all of the language, and she eventually learns how to manipulate time. So Donnie Darko, it says, deserves a couple of rewatches, and indeed it's hard to watch it. You can just watch it first and then go back and try and pull more out of it. Portrayal of teenage angst in its complex, rewarding sci-fi style. The themes of alienation and loneliness seep into the confronting horror elements of the story as Donnie is offered a cryptic message by a strange figure in a bunny costume. It's an oddball movie, so I'd have to rewatch it. It says it's a movie that lingers in the memory, urging its audience to watch it back once more to unravel the mess and come to their own conclusions about Frank and the Vortex. Cult classic is what it says. I agree. Pulp Fiction, Tarantino's nonlinear crime thriller, keeps the audience on their toes. It's nonlinear in the sense that it bounces from one group to another.
Right, but it doesn't involve any actual time travel, correct?
Not that I know of, unless I missed it. It says, while he hasn't delved yet into sci-fi, which this isn't sci-fi, this is pretty gritty, plain, down to earth kind of violence. Tarantino's sprawling, interconnected crime story is a complex tangle, and it's all about whatever is in this box. What's in the box? Which I don't think it's ever been disclosed what was in it. Let's see. Does it say anything? No. Then there's 12 Monkeys, which definitely... Now there's a follow-up to 12 Monkeys, I think.
I think there's going to be a show or something. Like,
is it? Yeah, there was a sci-fi show called 12 Monkeys that ran for 4 seasons from 2015 to 2018. But I thought that there was something else. A movie sequel, I thought.
I thought so too. I thought we saw something in Continuity Report.
Yeah, and this is another one of those where you have to watch it. I don't know, it doesn't say anything anymore. Yeah, I don't see anything. Anyway, it's really cool. It's basically, it says, the mechanics of time travel originally seemed simple in 12 Monkeys, as a convict is sent back in time to find the origins of a deadly virus. It's pretty cool. Last Night in Soho, also, this is more of a psychological time travel kind of thing, where it says Edgar Wright's mysterious thriller blends the past with the present. To me, this movie is more about someone... How do I actually explain this? Because it doesn't quite constitute time travel, but it shows the past and present collapsing into one tangled timeline. But the reality of this is, it's a psychological breakdown that the
person is basically overlapping with somebody else's life, right? From the description here.
Well, it's more like they take on the persona of the person after having a psychological break and end up enacting the things that she learned about the person who was last in the room that she took on. She became a boarder. because she's a fashion student and she needed a place to stay, and she takes a place above this bar essentially, and she takes on the persona of a spirit that was in this room, and I think it's more of a psychological breakdown. She takes on the persona to find herself and loses herself in this persona. It's a fascinating watch. And then Run Lola Run toys with the idea of non-linear narrative, but this again isn't time travel. It's more that it's just things happen.
Right. I feel like it was like alternate endings or something.
Yeah, after Lola's initial attempt to get the money, the story resets from the beginning and shows an alternate version of the events. The branching structure is the same kind of bold narrative environment or experiment as something like Memento. And it's more like a butterfly effect kind of discussion than it is anything else related to time travel itself. Characters seem to possess some limited knowledge of the other timelines, even going so far as to refer to events from alternate realities as if they'd happened the previous iteration of the same plot. This strange relationship between the different narratives suggests that it may all be occurring simultaneously within Lola's imagination. Yeah. Again, this is more psychological than actual sci-fi time travel. The potential for making a decision. Everybody makes those potential decisions. You know what? We need to keep moving because this is supposed to be a 30-minute show, and I am way past it because these
Every time there's
lists,
a compilation.
yeah, they're at least 10 minutes. This was 20. So this next article is over on the WarCrafters channel. Please remember the game has no plot, says
I like
Vampire
this.
Survivors. Yeah.
That should be the slogan on the movie trailer.
It should. Yeah, Vampire Survivors. There is no plot. So Vampire Survivors dev points out that one of the many challenges in turning its roguelike into a live action film. So the Vampire Survivors had a big 2024, and that sounds like an even bigger 2025 is on the way, which includes free updates to the action roguelike that will be a bit chunkier than usual. Patience, pardon me, is requested from fans, however, because a lot of the time is needed for QA and release patches now. Since we're on so many different platforms, developer Ponkel, I guess, said on Steam. So they also said that there are more Vampire Survivor tie-ins on the way, and the result of teaming up with developers like 2024's Balatro collaboration for Friends of Jimbo. But they also did one... Oh, hold on. Maybe they say it in the article. Christopher Livingston put the article together. And where is it? So, in addition to the Vampire Survivors animated series that they first heard about a couple of years ago, there's apparently also a live-action Vampire Survivors film in the works. It says, don't burst out of your house and dash to the theater, though. The project could be a long way off for a few reasons. There's no plot to the game, so how can there be a plot to the movie?
Yeah, I mean, they'll have to make one up.
Patches, updates, DLC, video game tie-ins, a live-action film, and an animated series isn't the full list of what Ponkel is working on. This year, we should be able to reveal a few other cross-media things we've been working on. They're just going to leave that sentence there, the developer said cryptically. I thought they did something else, not just the Balatro. What is the other...
I thought they had like a seasonal DLC or something.
Yeah, what was that? It wasn't just Balatro. I thought that they did... damn it, what is the name? Maybe it was something else. I don't know. I keep seeing references to the Balatro one. But I thought they had something else going on. Daggone it. Yeah, Operation Guns, right? I thought that's what it was. Huh. Oh, well.
Oh, yeah, Contra.
Yeah, Contra, that's it.
That's it, but it's the same thing. The Operation Guns DLC. It's a Contra crossover.
Yeah, there we go. Okay, Contra. Yeah. I knew that there was another one, and I thought that there was others, but it's a struggle to remember them. My brain. All right, so let's keep going. The next article is over in the continuity report. 10 movie sequels that took over 10 years to happen and were worth the wait. I am not going to be able to go through this like I did that last article list.
No, not in depth. We could just maybe mention them.
So Eli Morrison over at Screen Rant put the article together. Blade Runner. The original was from 1982, released 35 years after Blade Runner. There's supposed to be another Blade Runner coming, I think.
Right, it's going to be 2099
or something like that.
Or something. Something ending in an odd number.
20. No, that's Cyberpunk 2077. 2099. What will Blade Runner 2099 be about? That's it. So I'm all over Blade Runner. I love the idea of Blade Runner, the world building in it, and it's supposedly tied into Aliens as well. It's in the same omniverse, apparently. Top Gun Maverick could have not existed, and I would not have cared.
Yeah, I agree. Like, a lot of people like the original Top Gun. Some people don't, but I don't think this one added much other than they're continuing it, right, by bringing in younger actors if they want to keep making it, I guess.
Well, they brought Tom Cruise in. I wouldn't call him a younger actor.
No, I meant the other people in the program or whatever,
Right.
but I agree. Like, it didn't rise to the same level as Top Gun.
Top Gun in 1986 was something that you could actually wrap your head around as being reasonable. Then they do some quirky, let's sit really low to the ground and shoot up a mountaintop so that we can drop bombs into a crater. Come on. Anyway, I guess it was a non-Star Wars kind of blow up the Death Star kind of a thing.
Well, I think part of the problem is modern audiences, have to see all kinds of ridiculous stunts.
It's like shooting a womp rat. Anyway, Toy Story 3 started in 1999, and 2010 is when Toy Story 3 dropped. So Toy Story 2, 11 years later, is Toy Story 3. I like all of the Toy Stories as long as the animation and the story doesn't get too carried away.
Right, but I think the problem with the Toy Story franchise is that by the time they get to the end of it, people will be generations
40.
past where they first saw it.
Yeah. Toy Story changed the future of animation in 1995, becoming the first fully computer animated feature ever made. I did not realize that. Really? 95 was the first fully computer animated? I guess the rest was claymation.
That seems late.
Yeah. The film was a box office triumph, earning over $1 billion, as well as becoming a critical hit. Critical hit. Mad Max Fury Road, 30 years after Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, and hold on. Do they list all of them? Sometimes they list all of them, but they don't. Not in this. Doggone it.
What do you need, the names or the years?
The franchise. They sometimes list the entire franchise, but so Mad Max, the original Mad Max Road Warrior, was what year? You want to take a stab at?
1979.
Hey,
Oh, no, I'm looking at it. Sorry, I'm not guessing it.
Man, cheater.
I didn't know it was that far back, though.
Cheater. So I saw Mad Max when I was just wee high to a grasshopper. Then Mad Max 2, then Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, which was where the introduction of Master Blaster, and Bartertown. Never mind.
But both of those were in the 80s.
That was, 85. And then Mad Max Fury Road, 2015. And then Furiosa last year, which I think was... I haven't seen it yet. I shouldn't really say anything, but I think that was like the last gasp of the money grab.
No, there's Mad Max. I thought there was something else coming up.
is there? Wasteland.
Wasteland, yeah.
In March 2015, Hardy revealed that he was attached to star in 3 more Mad Max films: Fury Road, or Following Fury Road, Wasteland. So after the release of Fury Road, Miller announced that he was planning to release a follow-up film with the working title The Wasteland. But that 3 more after Fury Road.
Which doesn't make sense because only one has aired.
Yeah, so Furiosa, Mad Max Saga, and then Mad Max, The Wasteland. So there has to
Right.
be others, right?
Where's the other? Yeah.
The Bike Riders, I guess. Is that? No? I don't know. That's over on the wiki. Anyway, pretty interesting. I like the Mad Max world building up until you have people on fire in front of a wall of speakers, flames shooting out everywhere, and gasoline is the most sought after resource along with food. Why would they be spraying gasoline everywhere? Anyway, you suspend disbelief. Let's keep
Well, a
going.
lot of fun movies are like that.
Finding Dory took 13 years after Finding Nemo. 13 years after Avatar was Avatar: The Way of Water. 11 years after Puss in Boots is Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, which I've never watched either one of these.
No.
And then after Twister in 1996 was Twisters.
I mean,
Just leave it alone, right?
yeah.
Smiling, not a lot. Anyway, 19 years after Wallace and Gromit: The Curse of the Were-Rabbit in 2005 came Wallace and Gromit: Vengeance Most Foul.
Haven't seen that, but I think that's probably worth the wait if it's anything like the other Wallace and Gromit films.
Yeah, and they had a few bad things happen to their studio, including losing everything. All of the
And when you mean everything like characters.
their characters burned. Anyway, and then 40 years after Halloween came Halloween.
Isn't that interesting? Like, is that a function of things just delaying, or is it just like, let's see what we can add on to?
I don't
Because some of
know.
these have been, even the 10-year gaps seem ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah. For whatever reason, and some of the Halloween, there's been other interstitial Halloween movies that aren't tied directly to the Michael Myers storyline, but they're still called Halloween. And I like those more than I like anything else from Halloween. I haven't seen the new Halloween, the 2018 one. I saw the original Halloween, but not in '78. That would have been terrifying, I think. But anyway, so at any rate, that's 10 movie sequels that took over 10 years to show up.
And some of them were worth waiting for.
Yeah.
About half, I'd say, roughly.
Yeah, Blade Runner primarily. All right, let's keep rolling. The next article is over in the continuity report, and we're really going to be late. All the Hollywood premieres and events canceled due to LA fires, AFI awards, BAFTA, and more. As fires devastate Los Angeles, displacing people, burning homes, businesses, events and premieres continue to be canceled. Netflix has canceled the Night Agent Season 2 premiere in New York, scheduled for Tuesday. In light of the current crisis in Los Angeles, the red carpet has been canceled. Katzy Stephan, or Stephen, I'm not sure how they pronounce it, and Mark Malkin over at Variety put the article together. And Los Angeles premiere of Taking Care, a 38-minute documentary about Lauren Miller Rogen and Seth Rogen navigating the challenges of Lauren Mother's early onset Alzheimer's disease, has been postponed. And a bunch more. Can't really succinctly go through all of these things.
No, one of the ones that might be the most well-known would be Severance.
Yeah. it canceled the premiere for Severance, which had been Apple TV Plus canceled the planned premiere of Severance, which had been scheduled for Monday, January 13th. They basically said that safety was their first and foremost priority, so they just held off the
What
Severance
I'm
season
finding
2.
interesting on this article is that things outside of LA are being canceled because maybe the actors or the producers or any number of other people are impacted,
Are
or
in
just
LA.
the
Yeah.
timing of, yeah, trying to do this or even the appearance of it. But I think we'll see more of this. I mean, we've seen other articles about how many celebrities are directly impacted by the fires. Obviously, lots of people that aren't celebrities are too.
Yep. Little Shop of Horrors, starring Joel Kim Booster and Shea Coulee and Alex Newell, set for Friday at Catch One, was canceled. It says that the event was to benefit the Ali Forney Center, the nation's largest provider of shelter and wraparound services dedicated to homeless LGBTQ plus youth, which is obviously needed.
Yeah, that's the other shame here, right? It's not just promotional events, it's things that were fundraisers or other issues. I think there's also going to be, although I don't think we've seen it reported, I suspect there'll be filming delays too.
Yeah, there's been a couple of them already. What was the one that we were waiting to start up? Um, Goodness, it wasn't Severance, but there is a bunch that's been canceled. Event cancellations began on Tuesday morning as the scope of the fire started to become clear. Amazon MGM Studios and Universal Studios scrapped their planned Tuesday night premieres of Unstoppable, Wolfman, Better Man, The Pit premieres, essentially echoing what everybody else is echoing. That we can't have this going on in LA because so many people that are in this industry are impacted in some way. And out of an abundance of caution, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. So there was something that we were waiting to monitor, to watch. But there's a lot. There's a lot more here. Alter Ego Festival, scheduled for January 11th, set to feature artists, was canceled. iHeartRadio shared thoughts are with the Los Angeles community and their employees, partners, listeners affected by the tragedy. Screening dinner for A Complete Unknown is canceled, or postponed, I should say. Dune Exposures is a collaboration between Craig Fraser and Josh Brolin. That's been postponed. Gosh, so many things. BAFTA Tea Party that was set for January 11th at the Four Seasons Hotel in Beverly Hills will no longer take place. So they just kind of move on.
Well, and I just realized too, not only are all the people impacted, but and obviously the locations are, but some of these locations might be used as emergency shelters too.
Yep, it's possible. Special sing-along screening for Wicked, hosted at Universal Studios Backlot by the film's composer John Powell and featuring an audience of background vocalists behind the camera talent from the film, has also been canceled. Goodness. Yeah.
And then it looks like it's getting into more about just the fires themselves.
Yeah. All right. Well, good luck. Let's go on to the last article for today's continuity report, 10 best thriller westerns ever made. And this I definitely will not be able to go all the way through. So I'm going to jump right on over to it. And Ariana Alvarado put the article together for screenrant.com. I wanted this list because I'm really interested in westerns. And I haven't seen a lot of westerns, but the ones that I've watched, I've always liked them, mainly because of the world building of the time. Because when you talk to somebody about Western life of the time, they say that it wasn't anything like this. Yet this is the representation of Western life. So I've always thought it was weird. Films like No Country for Old Men or The Proposition tell gritty, somewhat realistic stories, subverting the expectations of audiences greatly familiar with the genre's formula and tropes. These films typically incorporate aspects of other genres like horror and action to create a well-rounded and increasingly effective thrill for audiences. So these are 10 best thriller westerns ever made. So The Stalking Moon, I haven't seen this, so I couldn't tell you. It opts to build an eerie atmosphere instead, concealing the identity of the mysterious antagonist. Sam come across an Apache reservation where he finds a woman and her son and chooses to rescue them after learning that she was taken captive years ago. Kind of an interesting premise, but
Yeah,
how did
not
it all get
what you
there?
would expect out of a Western.
And then you don't know who the mysterious antagonist is for much of the film, it says. The lack of action in the film is fittingly swapped out with a palpable tension that gradually builds to a thrilling, though somewhat predictable, final battle.
It almost sounds like a Hitchcock film as it's described.
Yeah, like The Birds, that kind of thing, or Rear Window or something like that. So The Missing from 2003, it was a Ron Howard movie, has Tommy Lee Jones in it and Kate Blanchett. An estranged father-daughter duo, Samuel and Maggie, who team up to find those responsible for kidnapping of the latter's daughter. Oh my. And I haven't seen that one. I haven't seen The Shooting from 1966, directed by Monty Hellman. Much of the film's thrill comes from the mystery surrounding each character. The characters within the film that make up for the simple narrative. The Shooting follows a former bounty hunter, Willett Warren Oates, and his friend Cooley, Will Hutchins, being approached by a mysterious woman named Millie Perkins, that's the actor's name, who asks them to travel with her through the desert. Doesn't offer why, just come with us.
And look who else is in here, Jack Nicholson. That's interesting.
Whoa, and that's Jack Nicholson.
Oh, is it? I didn't
Yeah.
recognize him.
Yep. So The Professionals, 1966. I swear this was a remake, or not a remake. It was remade. Hold on. Hold on. Maybe not. I thought there was a remake of it.
There's another movie with a similar title that you might be thinking of, but I don't think it relates.
All right. Oh, there's a 1960 film too. British crime film, though. Yeah, there would have been a disambiguation link, but anyway. Okay. So Marvin is a particular standout as the group's leader. The Professionals move at a swift pace and features the beloved tropes fans of the Western genre are familiar with, resulting in a fun viewing experience, it says. After finding the rancher's wife, it's clear she's not in the sort of danger her husband had assumed she was in. Well, hello.
I'm wondering if she's one of the antagonists or something.
Oh my. Oh my. So 3:10 to Yuma is 2007, probably the most modern so far in all of these. Directed by James Mangold. Crow and
But that
Bale
is a remake.
Yeah. It was a remake of a 1957 film, significant film within the Western genre, but the 2007 remake is just as special, it says. The film follows outlaw Ben Wade after he's captured and is transported to trial by a rancher named Dan Evans, or Christian Bale, aboard the titular train 310 to Yuma. And then The Hateful Eight, directed by Quentin Tarantino. Don't know how to describe this thing, but it starts out with violence and ends with violence. I mean, this thing...
Sounds like Tarantino.
Yep. The Hateful Eight's despicable characters and unforgiving acts of violence create potent tension. The Proposition's cast and crew were considerate in their attention to detail, and and Indigenous Australian actors were also featured in supporting roles. It says it's a slow burn as the tension within the family presents itself. Let's see. They offered the chance to save the younger brother from being executed. That's what it says the catch is the only way for the Charlie's younger brother to be saved is if he kills his older brother, who is wanted for more heinous crimes. the
Wow, sounds a
proposition.
bit intense.
Bone Tomahawk is directed by S. Craig Zoller. It's a 2015 film, so it's a modern take on a Western. It says one of Russell's more famous Westerns is Bone Tomahawk, in which he plays a sheriff leading a rescue mission to save 3 people who've been captured by a group of cannibals. While it has its thrills, Bone Tomahawk is admittedly different from other Westerns mentioned. It says it's a slow burn. They refer to something as troglodyte characters. Must be the
That's
cannibals.
interesting. Mm-hmm.
No Country for Old Men is a 2007 film, very notorious. So if you've never heard of it, then go and watch No Country for Old Men. The film presents the harsh reality of a bleak world, with Llewellyn and Anton playing opposite sides. In the changing world Tommy Lee Jones' sheriff Ed Tom Bell is left grappling with in No Country for Old Men's ending. The unexpected ending, while confusing and divisive for some, is the ideal way to tie in the film's themes and wrap up Anton's thrilling pursuit. Depicts a sort of cat and mouse game between Llewellyn Moss, Josh Brolin, a man who comes across a briefcase full of cash after a drug deal goes wrong, and Anton, the hitman hired to retrieve the money.
That sounds interesting.
And then finally, Unforgiven. Directed by Clint Eastwood. I think it stars Clint Eastwood. The film is regarded as one of the best modern westerns. I've seen it. I like it. It says, now living on a farm, Will is brought back into the action when a reward is posted for the murder of 2 cowboys. Eastwood's film has no shortage of thrills or violence, especially during its final moments, and in equal parts tribute to and dismantling of the genre's most well-known tropes. Yeah.
That also sounds interesting.
Covered in moral ambiguity and subverts the expectations audiences have of a Western narrative. I don't know, there's always a shootout. Unforgiven's story is engrossing due to the unexpected themes and strong performances from its cast, including Gene Hackman as Bill Daggett, the corrupt sheriff. Gene Hackman plays a good corrupt
villain.
Yeah. Anything. Yeah. Anyway, and there we go. So with that in mind, we're going to have to reset the reels, and that means rewinding back to the continuity report over at ohmtown.com. That's it for the continuity report. We blew past our 30-minute time frame, but hey, that's what we're here for, to talk about entertainment stuff. I am Mayor Watt, saying bye, and so will the sentient AI.
Good night, hometown citizens. Thanks for joining us for the continuity report. We'll have another episode for you next week, but be sure to subscribe and tune in to our weekday Non Sequitur news editions.
Yep. And these 3 shows today are going to get turned into the Non Sequitur News Weekend Edition. So you can watch over 2 hours or so. Yeah, it's going to be 2 hours of news ranging from technology to entertainment, everything in between. So we'll see you on the other side. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, YouTube. Bye-bye, Twitch.